Hey, and welcome back. I have this weird obsession where I don't want to throw away any drum or hardware part just in case I might be able to use it later on a project or to help somebody else fix up one of their pieces. This has led me to accumulate a lot of orphan pieces and odds and ends in my back room, and today I'm going to try to tackle finally using one of them. So back a few weeks ago, I was given a whole lot of free drum equipment, and a lot of it was really nice, but some of it was in that category of just being odds and ends. And one of the things I got was this, which is a cymbal stand or tom stand bass. It's definitely not a snare stand bass because it's too tall to be that, but it didn't have a top half, so I really don't know what it was in its first life. It's been sitting in my back room, and I've been trying to think, what can I do with this? And the solution I've come up with is to build a trap table. For those of you that don't have a background in school band or orchestral percussion, a trap table is basically a tabletop surface that has a soft material on top, like carpet, a towel, or foam, and percussionists use this to rest sticks, mallets, and other small percussion instruments on, so that as we're moving things on and off, it's not making noise. When you're in a concert band or orchestra setting, just setting a tambourine on a tabletop when you're not going to use it is going to make a small sound, and this can help minimize that so that it's not heard throughout the entire ensemble. Because honestly, I've been there where my actions of just resting something down was heard by everybody, and trust me, you do not want that. There's a lot of trap tables out there that you can buy, but honestly, a lot of them are like $200 for what is just a glorified tabletop with a soft surface. I think DIYing one of these is a great option, so my hope is by doing this, it'll inspire a few of you out there to do the same. And even if you don't play concert percussion, I think this could be useful in a drum set application. So I went to the hardware store last night and picked up two pieces, and they are galvanized steel pipe. In my case, it was 1/2-inch pipe to fit in this bass, and then a small flange which I can use to secure to the bottom of a piece of plywood to build my tabletop. This set me back like a little over $10, between $10 and $15, so I don't have much into this. I'm pretty sure I have some plywood on hand that'll work, old carpet that I can use for this, and anything I want to do with finishing or making it look nice, I'm sure I already have on hand as well. So I'm going to go up to the garage, get started. Hopefully this will be a quick project, and we'll see what we end up with. I knew I had plenty of scrap wood to choose from for this, so I didn't have any specific measurements I was working off in terms of finding materials. The piece I ended up with felt like a good size, and I just figured I could trim the total dimension down past these notches in the corners to have a nice rectangular shape. I did this on my table saw over a couple passes, and ended up with something around 22 inches across and 16 inches deep. I found some more scrap wood to use for the side pieces, and since they were a bit too wide for my preference, I also trimmed those down on the table saw. I did this all by feel, so I'm guessing the total height for these was something around 2 inches high, but it really just needs to be able to clear the thickness of the base and the padding to keep the sticks from rolling off the side or back. I trimmed these pieces down on my crosscut saw and decided to go the extra mile by adding 45-degree mitered edges on the corners where the sides met the back. I also added a small 45-degree cut on the front edge of each side because I think it's a nice visual transition to the front face where I have no sort of trim or raised profile. Once I had all the side pieces cut to their final length, I then spent some time sanding them because it's a lot easier to do this now before they're all attached together. At this point, I moved my operation back downstairs because on the day I chose to do this, it was minus 20 degrees outside. I had a roll of spare carpet that's been sitting down here for years, so it was great to finally put some of it to use here. It has a nice thick padding built in, so I think that's perfect for this trap table project. I used my base as a template, tracing it onto the carpet, and then came back with a razor blade to cut it out. Before I could adhere this carpet to the base, I needed to attach this small block to the underside of it, and the role that this is serving is to give me a thicker place to screw the pipe flange to, so I can get a nice hold with longer screws. Since I didn't want to lay out the placement for this on both sides, I just traced the pattern on top, and then drove screws through the bottom first, then flipped it around and secured them for good. I used spray adhesive to get the carpet permanently attached to the base, and after letting it cure for a minute or so, it was certainly sticking really well. So much so that I barely had any flexibility in terms of adjusting the position of it after it made initial contact. I was able to get it shifted into the right place after a bit of work, but I probably should have been a little more intentional with my placement right from the beginning. Next, it was time to quickly stain these trim pieces. I try not to do this sort of work indoors, but for a small amount like this, I wasn't too worried about the fumes, and I wiped it off so quickly that it really didn't have time to do any damage. After letting these pieces dry out for a bit, I went ahead and tacked them on with my brad nailer. I would have loved to use wood glue here, but in winter, I'm not able to keep it on hand without it going bad, so I would have needed to plan ahead to make this happen, but I think the brad nails will have plenty of hold to keep this in place long term. Last up, I needed to attach the pipe flange into the base with some wood screws. Then I could thread on my pipe and stand base and call this project a wrap. So for just about an hour of my time and less than $20 to have this to use now is a pretty big win in my opinion. I think it turned out good. It's not perfect. There's one mistake that I wish I could have planned for a little better, and that is the fact that this carpet has like a padding underneath it, and from the front edge where I don't have a piece of trim around it, you can definitely see it, so it doesn't look the best, but I could buy some piece of like right angle trim or some sort of transition piece to put over that and kind of mask it a little bit. I'm not worried about it today because it's just a cosmetic thing, and I wanted this to be a quick project. I don't want it to be a multi-day affair. And the reason I built this today is because tomorrow I have like a cabaret Broadway show. I'm playing with this touring group called Bachelors of Broadway, which is like 4 singers from Broadway, and they hire out local musicians to fill these shows. I need something to put sticks and mallets on. I have to use a triangle, so it's nice to have a little table at the side. They're backlining a drum set, but I doubt they'll have something like this there for me. So I'll probably bring this with me and use it there. I'm sure it'll be helpful in other circumstances. Or if I don't end up using it, I'll probably just give it to one of the schools where I teach at, because a few of them that I do regular teaching at do not have trap tables, and I'm always seeing students just putting sticks or triangles on top of an unused snare drum, which is fine, but this is a better option. If you don't like this or don't want to deal with building one of these, you can certainly just buy one, but you're going to spend a lot more money. And again, this did not take much time to do, so I think it's worth it. You could customize it. You could make a smaller one, mount it off a tom bracket so you could, position it off a cymbal stand. That would be very convenient for your phone and wallet and a pair of sticks, like for a gigging drummer. I think there's a lot of opportunities to make this your own, and there's plenty of options out there if you don't want to deal with it. So leave a comment, let me know what you think, and until next time, thanks.